Good morning to you. Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com, here with your hurricane outlook and discussion for Wednesday, the 26th of September. I had to think about it, 2018. There is a lot to cover today. Wow, let me tell you. Don't worry about 98L any longer. Not a problem. This will be very interesting to watch, but not going to be a problem more than likely. Not 100% sure it won't be. You never know until they go like that and are out of here. You never say never. Kirk is going to be a problem for portions of the Lesser Antilles, and then we have some action here in the Eastern Pacific with Hurricane Rosa, probably going to be a problem in this area. I've been talking about that for months, and now that we're going to be moving into early October, troughs are going to be crashing into the west, and these systems are going to curve towards Mexico when they develop, it does appear. So we do have a lot to talk about. So again, not worrying about these two systems, let's focus here on Kirk. That's the tropical weather outlook, graphical satellite version, etc. So let's go. Time to get up, Mark. So let's forgot to turn that off again. Probably scared half of you into next week. Let's look at the track map for Kirk, and yeah, this is starting to strengthen a little bit, and wind-wise, going to be a little bit more of a factor, probably going to do some damage. Tropical storm warnings now for Barbados and some of the other northern parts of the windwards into the leewards, and this could pass close enough to the islands up here of the Northeast Caribbean, Barbuda, over to St. Bart, the U.S. British Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico, to bring rain and squally weather. Remember, it's not just about where this part goes, the center, but the rest of the weather around it. And looking at some of the modeling, it could be going a little bit more north with time, so you guys need to pay attention to that. As it stands for right now, Barbados looks like you could get close to the center. But again, unless this becomes a fairly strong hurricane, being near the center isn't what this is all about. The very heavy rainfall, the flooding, you know from even sheared systems that you have had in the past, you can get a lot of rainfall, and with the elevations that we deal with down in these islands, that can be very problematic, deadly, have deadly consequences. So please be prepared for this system as it passes through. And then again up here, even though you all are not in any kind of a watch or a warning, all the way over to Puerto Rico, I think you're going to get some squalls out of this when all is said and done, especially considering the size of the envelope of energy. And then it's forecast to weaken and maybe dissipate over the Caribbean, but then we just have to wait and see. Does it get up into the Gulf of Mexico eventually? Some of the longer range guidance suggesting that that might be a possibility. Looking at this awesome perspective here from tropicaltidbits.com of the Atlantic and the Pacific, now that we can shift away from the eastern Atlantic over here off the chart, if you will, no longer concerned with what comes off Africa, because nothing really is going to develop out that way for the rest of the year, I don't think. So we'll focus here on Kirk. There's 98L moving out, not going to be a problem. Finally, steady sunshine, drying out in earnest for the Carolinas, where rivers are cresting as we speak and should start to fall slowly over the coming days. So again, just looking at Kirk down here, getting better organized, recon on the way in there, and we'll know a lot more about its intensity. Looks like more of an upper level anticyclone trying to develop over this system rather than winds just coming across and taking the top of it off. You see that? There's sort of this turning to the clouds. There's still some strong upper level winds for sure, but it's not like this strong dagger is coming out of the East Pack and roaring across, cutting everything off, at least not right here. So this may intensify further and make a run at becoming a hurricane. That wouldn't surprise me. But that's not the real issue. I'm going to hammer it again. You know, you all down here need to be worrying about that rainfall and how heavy that could be. A lot of energy here, a lot of moisture, and it's headed your way. So be ready for that, please. Lots of viewers of my YouTube videos down in that part of the world, and I'm urging you to be very cautious and do what you can. Get to higher elevations, away from gullies and streams that flood. If you've seen it in the past and you know that it could be a problem, avoid it as this approaches. In the Pacific, we do have Rosa over here, Hurricane Rosa. And let's go back to the Hurricane Center site and look at the track map for Hurricane Rosa right here. And there you go. Forecast to turn and eventually head towards the Baja up here and beyond. This only goes out to 5 days. You know, hurricane threat for the Baja? Probably not. Water temperatures are going to be too cool up this way. But the moisture, deep tropical moisture, and the front, the trough that's digging in, we call that forcing out west, that's going to be happening over in this area. See this big upper level low here? We'll be able to see this carve out more and more in the days to come. Big trough over here, going to turn Rosa this way and wring out a lot of moisture over portions of the southwest, the Baja, northwest Mexico. And we can see that here. I'm going to show you Rosa first, then we'll take a look at what's happening with Kirk. Alright, so this is the west coast of the United States, San Diego, LA area. Down here we have the Baja, Gulf of California, and the west coast of Mexico. This is the vorticity signature here for Hurricane Rosa. We're going to put this into motion. This is 7 days. And watch what happens here. It becomes a pretty strong hurricane. It tracks along to the west, northwest, to northwest, and then you lose these heights up here. They start to fall. See that trough carving out up there? And it weakens the subtropical high, and then Rosa has a clear shot right into the southwest United States by days 6 and 7. And I'm going to stop it and just frame through it. You see those heights fall up over California, and then right there it approaches the Baja at about day 6 or so, roughly day 6, moving pretty quickly, caught in the flow, the southwesterly flow. And that, folks, is a lot of moisture to bring into the desert southwest. Tucson, Phoenix, maybe as far east as into New Mexico. Alright, so we have to watch this very, very carefully. And you bet, if this threat really starts to manifest itself, and the details of where the core of the energy will be are forthcoming, of course, but I'm already making plans to make sure I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, or close by when this happens, to set up equipment, and we can monitor things remotely, use the same kind of monitoring equipment that I use for storm surge and river flooding to monitor what happens in the desert southwest when we have problems out there from tropical systems. And as you can see, that's a lot of energy that gets sort of wrung out here in an area that's normally arid, and you know the problems that that can cause. Here in the Atlantic, let's just put this into motion, then I'll draw what I need to draw. There comes Kirk. This is from the 6Z GFS, by the way. The 12Z will be coming out over the next few hours. I might do an update this evening on both systems, since they are both threats to land areas. This will reset. This is a 5-day, 850 millibar evolution here, and you can see it's pretty potent, and it goes right there through the central part of the Windward Islands. That's Barbados right there, okay? So just keep that in mind as this starts over. Day 1 here it comes, and passing very close to Barbados, probably to the north, and then just to the south of Guadeloupe, which is right here, this butterfly-shaped island. And then look how close it gets, as I was mentioning. Very important, you folks up here in the northern islands, watch this energy. See, some of this energy comes up here, showers, thunderstorms, you know, leftover moisture, any of those blobs. That green indicates energy in the atmosphere, or vorticity. Even though it's not bundled and round like this is, still, that's rainfall. That's what I see. And that gets pretty close to Puerto Rico there with the circulation, and then it kind of dies out as it heads closer to Jamaica. But yes, even you folks in Jamaica, the western side of the island of Hispaniola, Haiti specifically, southern parts of Dominican Republic. We're going to have to really watch this carefully for a major flood threat for portions of the Greater Antilles after passing through the Lesser Antilles. So a lot going on all of a sudden in terms of potential impact for people. All right? So real quick reminder, I do have an app. It's called Hurricane Impact. I get to update that frequently, and it's really, really good for when things are happening. The impact. I can't be all over the world at once. I wish I could. Maybe we'll get there one day. And we are getting ready to revive the Android version. So if you've got the Android version already, hope is coming. We're going to have some things fixed, and I think we've got a solution to the live video problem, and we're going to resell it again for those that don't have it on Google Play. And then I am on Patreon here, which has been remarkable, a way to crowdfund my efforts. There's other people like Levi Cowan, Tropical Tidbits. He's on Patreon as well. The folks from weathernerds.org, weathernerds.org, they're also on Patreon. If you can support folks like us doing this independent kind of work, entrepreneurs, weather nerds, whatever. I mean, we need your help, and the support that you have shown me has been great. So I'm going to mention it, all right? Because we got to continue it so that I can continue this for you. And I can do things like go out to the desert Southwest next week. I'm seriously thinking about doing that if conditions warrant. Obviously, I have to spend the money that you all are providing to me wisely, and I think that there's a high chance that we get an impact out there that's worthy of covering in person. More on that later. Thank you for tuning in. As always, I appreciate it. Without you on the other side watching, really not much reason for me to be here. So I appreciate you tuning in each time I do this. I am Mark Sudduth for HurricaneTrack.com. I'll have more for you probably early this evening.